June 2020, the Galwan Valley. The temperature is below freezing, and in the pitch dark, two powerful militaries are fighting hand to hand. They aren't firing rifles or calling in artillery strikes. These are modern, nuclear-armed superpowers, yet their soldiers are brawling on a cliffside using stones, metal rods wrapped in barbed wire, and their bare hands. The clash leaves dozens of soldiers dead, shaheed, scattered across these remote, freezing mountain outposts. Why are two nuclear giants reduced to throwing rocks at each other? To understand this violence, you have to look past modern border disputes and uncover a promise from decades ago. Rewind to 1947. India is newly independent. Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru envisions a powerful, united Asia, strong enough to challenge Western dominance. As China enters its own new political phase under Mao Zedong, a diplomatic slogan takes over: Hindi-Chini Bhai Bhai. Indians and Chinese are brothers. It is a genuine attempt to forge an unshakable geopolitical bond. But beneath the handshakes, a geographic dispute is quietly expanding. On this map, both nations draw conflicting boundaries, claiming vast territories like Aksai Chin and Arunachal Pradesh. Yet Indian leadership downplayed these massive overlaps as minor administrative headaches, easily resolved by diplomatic brotherhood. By prioritizing idealistic diplomacy over hard geographic realities, India created a massive strategic blind spot. They assumed the border was secure, leaving them entirely vulnerable to what came next. In October 1962, the illusion of brotherhood evaporates overnight. China launches a sudden, unprovoked military offensive straight across the Himalayas. Indian troops are rushed to freezing altitudes to respond, but they have zero logistical planning. They lack heavy weapons, and many are sent into the snow wearing little more than summer uniforms and canvas shoes. The human toll is devastating. Frontline soldiers quickly realize they are facing a vastly superior, well-equipped force. They are outgunned, freezing, and effectively walking into a slaughter. Behind the public handshakes, Beijing had been preparing for an offensive that India never saw coming. This realization shattered the basic assumption that diplomatic brotherhood could prevent physical aggression. The 1962 defeat left the bye-bye sentiment dead. Any future engagement would be viewed through a lens of extreme suspicion. In the wake of the defeat, a deep paranoia takes hold. India immediately begins a massive, aggressive fortification of its military infrastructure, while China rapidly expands its strategic footprint along the border. A silent war took hold. For decades, high-altitude passes saw face-to-face standoffs, with patrols engaging in physical shoving matches instead of gunfire. To prevent these daily skirmishes from spiraling into a nuclear exchange, both sides agreed to a strict no-bullets protocol. Soldiers cannot open fire, trapping both militaries in a frustrating limbo that offers neither active warfare nor actual peace. This mechanism keeps the peace on paper, but it doesn't resolve the underlying geographical disputes. It acts as a pressure cooker, actively suppressing the hostilities until the exact moment it inevitably explodes. That explosion arrives in 2020. The Galwan Valley clash is the exact moment the no-bullets containment strategy violently collapses under the weight of decades of accumulated tension. But the conflict has outgrown the Himalayan mountain passes. Today, the battlefield stretches across global supply chains, economic investments, and digital infrastructure. India now takes a highly proactive, offensive stance. The government executes sweeping bans on hundreds of Chinese digital applications and enforces heavy restrictions on incoming trade. Simultaneously, China aggressively flexes its technological and economic muscle, rapidly expanding its geopolitical influence throughout the rest of South Asia. The rock throwing in the mountains and the algorithmic blocks in the city are part of the same strategic reality. India no longer separates border security from economic and digital defense. Which brings us to the most critical question. In this modern era of high-tech trade wars and localized border violence, is it ever possible for India to trust Beijing again? You can see the answer playing out across the wider Asian continent. There is a deep-seated resistance to Chinese expansionism, fueled by a lingering, historical mistrust of Beijing's motives. Geopolitical trust requires decades of careful, optimistic diplomacy to establish. It takes exactly one strategic miscalculation to destroy it entirely. The India-China relationship shows how a single strategic betrayal can lock two superpowers into a state of permanent hostility. Does a relationship built on a broken promise have a way back? Tell us what you think in the comments and subscribe for more.